Hi, Weather Joey here with your bottom of the South Island weather recap and forecast for Sunday, June 19th, 2022. This going out to you in the future, thinking about you and thinking about us and where we are. Hopefully you have records to look over this because I got shorts on this week. More on that later. Not quite warm enough yet, but I want to get into that. But before we get started, I'd like to take this opportunity, as always, to thank and acknowledge the first peoples of this land, the First Nations, from North Saanich out to Sooke and beyond across this beautiful land, for allowing us to live, work, and play on their beautiful traditional territories. I hope you in the future are honoring this and have moved things forward and that are doing right by the First Nations, and that, just thinking about that over the next couple of days as we come to a special day this Tuesday. Anyway, more on that later. This past week's forecast. Hi, Weather Joey here with your bottom of the South Island weather recap and weather forecast for Sunday, June 19th, 2022. This goes out to you in the future, looking back at us in the past. I think about it, and hopefully you guys have records to see what's going on because, as I've been saying, we've had a long spring, slow start to summer. I got shorts on today, but that's, anyway, I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But before we get started, I'd like to take this opportunity to first thank and acknowledge the first peoples of this land, the First Nations, from North Sydney, out to Sooke and beyond, really, or North Saanich, for allowing us to live, work, and play on their beautiful traditional territories. We thank you very much as we approach this Tuesday, National Indigenous Day. We think about that, and I think about the future, and I hope the settlers have done right and more right, and we're moving further and further along towards reconciliation and cooperation and an understanding of each other's lives. Anyway, let's look back at last week's forecast, which was last Sunday the 12th. Everything went pretty much as scheduled last week. Now, we talked about by midweek, we were talking about a little low pressure moving in off the Pacific Northwest. That brought cloud and the occasional shower up from the south for that Wednesday and on into Thursday. I think it was the 16th. Now, we thought that was going to clear out. That low sort of stuck around for Friday the 17th and even into Saturday the 18th, which was yesterday. If you look back at the records, you'll see showers showing up in a lot of places for Saturday morning before that little surface ridge moved in from the west like we had talked about and brought a fairly breezy, cool mix of sun and cloud later in the day Saturday. So that came along a little bit later than we thought. That's carried into today, Sunday, for Father's Day. And this sort of breezy west-northwest mix of sun and cloud for today. Now that will continue to push on into the coast into today and tomorrow, which is the Monday. So temperature still below normal, still no sign of summer yet, but all this is coming in from the west. So we're going to see that move across from the west. Now, what is fueling this westerly flow is we got low pressure up here circulating around counterclockwise, high pressure down here circulating clockwise, bringing this westerly flow between the two at the coast. This will bring in for Tuesday, it looks like, just a little trough coming in for Tuesday. Now, that's going to bring some precipitation, mainly to the North Island and the upper coast here above sort of Powell River, that sort of area. But that should spread across the south coast, somewhat weakened by later in the evening on Tuesday. So that means another dose of rain for the south coast. Not too much, but it's mostly the North Island further up north that's going to get the majority of it. As this passes through, it looks like we're going to see a nice ridge. Remember, let me get rid of this. Building up, I'm going to get rid of those because those kind of move out of play. For Wednesday, building up offshore here. That's going to bring more of a northwest flow for Wednesday and on into Thursday. Now this will be fairly cool. It'll start off Wednesday quite cloudy, kind of breezy out of the northwest down the straits. And like I said, fairly cloudy, maybe a possibility of showers. As we get into Thursday, still breezy, but much more sun for Thursday. So that takes us to Thursday. Now, this is the interesting part, is that this ridge, some of the models are calling for this ridge to slowly move on shore. And I'm going to go back to orange here. If we've got support down here of ridging, which it kind of looks like, those two kind of come together, and by Friday we could see our first day of summer, and that would be amazing because we haven't seen summer in a long time. As you've been hearing me say, this has been the longest spring stretch without a summer day in recorded history. Now, if it arrives by the end of June, fingers crossed, that would be the 24th, that Friday. And if that holds for the weekend, we could see temperatures shoot up to the mid-20s, mid to upper 20s, and maybe even to 30 by Sunday, which would be a boom, hit of summer right off the bat. But that's still in the future. These things can change. It's all about this sort of setup over here. So yes, that would take us to the end of June. Hopefully some summer there. I know that I love summer. I love warm weather. And I'm sure that you out there love warm weather and just the activity it brings. But anyway, that's giving you a heads up. And for you guys looking back into the future, this is what we're hoping for. Anyway, hope that helps out. As always, I'd like to wish that the forecast be with you now and into the future.